Today I have the new Nomad Cosmetics palette for you guys. Their palettes are always inspired by a destination, and the destination this time is Chamonix Mont Blanc, which is a ski destination in France. Here you see the outer packaging, the front side, where friends are just hanging out, drinking something warm and enjoying the snowy mountains. And in the back, you have a little bit more information about the destination and the colors. Now, inside of the packaging, the front looks the same as the outer packaging. And then when you open up the palette, you have some very beautiful colors ranging from these sort of pinky purpley colors. And then in the middle, you have beautiful wintry greens, and then we have some blues and blue toned purples, and there's also a dark purple toned brown. The engravings in the shades are always really beautiful. I think I see a bunch of skis on many of them. They look like bunnies to me, but I think they're skis. I'm going to start off in the middle section where all the wintry greens are, and I'm just going to basically go in order from light green to dark. So light green I'm going to apply on my brow bone, the mid-tone green into my crease and part of my lid, and then I'm going to use the darkest green to deepen up the outer corner. So the lightest green shade called Fondue did take some time to build up, but it did eventually build up. But the mid-tone one called Ski was very nicely pigmented, and I really enjoyed applying that. And then I applied the darkest green shade called Mont Blanc in the outer corner. And I had no issues blending a darker color either. And I did bring the green into my lower lash line as well, both the mid-tone and the darkest green. And then I used the shimmer shades. And I started off with the lightest shimmer shade, which actually is a duochrome. It seems like a shift between like a silvery white color and a green color. And I was going to use 3 shades, but when I applied this duochrome, it's just so stunning that I felt like I didn't even need to apply any other shimmers. I would have to say this is my favorite shade from this palette. But nonetheless, I did go back and I wanted to try out the darker green shimmer, and that one applied very smoothly. And it also has pretty nice luster for a dark shimmer. And I did use the other shimmer green shade, Apres, to kind of blend out the dark and the lightest duochrome shade, which was called Chamonix. And I'm just applying a Chamonix in the inner corner. And here is the final look after some liner and mascara. I love it. I felt like this look was so easy to create. I didn't have to spend a long time on it, and it just came out so beautiful and effortless. For the next look, I'm going to use the blue shades, and I'm going to start off with this light sky blue shade called Last Call. And I'm applying it in the brow bone and also like the inner bone in the hollow of the eye. Now, if you do end up purchasing this palette, make sure to use my code JKMakeup for 10% off. And then I'm going to go in with this mid-tone purple shade. It's called La Terrasse. And it's a really beautiful pigmented shade. No trouble in applying it on the lid or the crease. I did bring it into the lower lash line as well. And then I'm going into this duochrome called Les Alpes. And just apply that on most of the lid. And I did go back in and added some more of that purple matte shade. And for the next part, I'm going to use one of these blue shades, which actually on the eyes looked more like a purple, like a blue toned purple, which I was happy about. Here I'm applying the sky blue shade into the inner corner. And then I decided to use the purple toned brown and brought it into the lower lash line. And then I used a true like a royal blue colored shimmer shade called Shot Ski, and decided to do a graphic liner. The line was way too thick, so I did try to cover it afterwards with the purple shades. I did go back and use the brown purple tone shade to deepen the outer corner as well. So here is the finished look. I did add another line here because I was just not happy with just one line up here. So it was definitely a bit of a risk trying to combine the blue with the purple, and I'm still not sure if that was the right decision. But I can say for sure that I liked all of the shadows that I used. So I like the blue and I like the purple. And here is what it looks like. All I'll say is that it looks interesting. And to finish up this side, I also used 2 eyeliners. I used this Milani eyeliner on the top of my lid. This is the Stay Put eyeliner in shade 03 Duchess. So I used that here, right here, very close to the lash. And also I took it from here and extended it to where the blue line starts. And then in my waterline, I used this one from, it just says color spell sapphire on it. Oh my God, I don't even know what brand this is. I think it was Profusion, but I could be completely wrong. But I mean, the idea was because I was using blue, I wanted to add more blue in another way, so I decided to put the blue in the waterline as well. All right, for my next look, I'm going to use a shade called Raclette and apply it in the brow bone. This one also took me some time to build up, but it did eventually work out. And then I took a little bit of a darker purple pinky shade called Off Piste and applied that into the crease. And then finally I took the darkest purple shade here called Hot Savoy and applied that into the outer corner of the eye. And then now on to the shimmer shades. I'm taking this pink shimmer shade called Last Run and also another darker shimmer shade called Mon Chou, and just applying that on the eyelid and just trying to make sure they blend well into each other. And I did eventually switch to a wet sprayed brush to create more impact from the shimmers. They still had enough impact, I feel like, but I wanted a little bit more. And then I moved on to this purple toned brown and used that to deepen up the outer corner. And then I tried using this shade called Le Alpe in the inner corner. And at that time, I didn't realize it was a blue toned purple duochrome. So then I tried to undo it. And I think it worked a little bit. Here's the final look. I think it's really pretty. I feel like the pinky purple tones are really beautiful. And these pinky purple shades actually remind me of the Natasha Denona Roxa palette. So now for my everyday life, I actually do much simpler looks. So I want to do a much simpler look and see how it would look. So I'm just going to use 2 shades. I'm going to use this purple shade called Hot Savoy and just basically apply it all over, and then use this shimmer shade called Last Run on top of the lid as well. All right, so here's a finished look on my left side. This is what I would do normally because I just don't have the patience to try to do something more intricate like this. So this side I feel like looks pretty good too. It's only 2 shades. And I feel like when you use only 2 shades, you actually get to see the colors of the shades. Whereas with the other look, everything kind of starts to blend in, which is beautiful in that way too, where everything is blending in, and that's its own beauty. But I feel like for me personally, this simple side is more than enough. And here are the eyes side by side, something that takes a lot longer to do, something that literally takes minutes to do on this side. Which one do you like more? Do you think this side that has more depth and took way longer is better looking, or is this good enough on this side here? All right, so here are the swatches. This is the first 2 columns where the pinky purples are. Now you can clearly see that the first one is actually a blue-based purple, the duochrome one. And then the second 2 columns are where you see the wintry greens. That shimmer green shade, the darker one, is so smooth that it almost looks like a matte shade. I think it's so beautiful. And then we have the last 2 columns where we have blues and blue toned purples and a dark brown that is purple toned as well. Here are the darker shimmer shades side by side, and I think you can see that the green and the blue is smoother and thicker than the pinky purple one. Here is the duochrome. This one is Le Alpe. And here's a comparison. On the left side, we have the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette shade. And on the right, we have Natasha Denona Roxa palette. I mean, I think the Rose Quartz one looks very similar to Les Alpes. And here's the other duochrome, which I absolutely love. Now, the launch date for this palette is Tuesday, January 14th, around 12 a.m. Eastern Time. All in all, my first impression of this palette is that the colors are very interesting. I love that it has a little bit of pastels, but also some dark colors. I love that there's green in here, but also some blues and pinky purple. So there's the interesting color variation. And then there's also some variation within the color, as in there's lighter versions and darker versions of the same color. And some of the darker shimmers are actually really beautiful, and the duochromes are also really pretty, and the matte shades, even the darker ones, blended beautifully. So in all, really happy with this palette. I did get this in PR, so I am very grateful to the brand that they sent me this. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.